Hello guys, so let's quickly look at cardiac conduction. Now think about it this way. The heart is just a muscle that sits in the body, right? Now there is nothing that actually puts pressure on the heart for it to contract and relax, all right? But the heart still functions almost every minute of the day. Now, what is responsible for the functionality of the heart? It is the conducting system, or you can say it is the electrical system or the electrical wiring of the heart. Okay, so electrical signals passed around the heart is responsible for the contraction and relaxation of the heart. Now, in the heart, there are a group of specialized types of cell that actually conduct electrical impulses around the heart. Now, it starts from a particular one we know as the SA node. Now, this is also called the pacemaker. That means that this particular one here actually starts the heartbeat. All right, so let's label that the SA node. SA node. Now, SA stands for sinoatrial node. Now, this actually starts the whole the whole process of conducting electricity. Now, this type of cells, they are very specific in their action, in the sense that even though the brain does not send a signal to it, to the heart, it can actually generate these signals by itself. That is one of the major characteristics or feature of the SA node. All right. Now, looking at this cell, for it to generate electricity or for it to generate electrical impulses, what happens is that there must be an influx of sodium and calcium ion, right? That is just action potential. When this happens, it pushes this impulse from one part of the node to others. Now, looking at the anatomy now, there is a branch of this particular SA node. There's a branch of this fiber that goes out to the left atrium. All right. Now, this is what we call the intranodal. So when it goes out like this to and spreads towards the other parts of the atrium, it's known as intranodal. Now, there are others that spreads to touch this second point. Now, this second point is called the AV node, which is also known as the atrioventricular node. So let's label that atrioventricular node, AV node. All right, so we have the SA node and the AV node. Now, this is actually very important, and I'm going to talk about that very soon. Now, the AV node extends, it has an extension that comes this way. Now, is known, that extension of the AV node is known as the bundle of His. Bundle of His. Now, from the bundle of His, there is a partition. The bundle of His divides to form different fibers that runs through different segments of the heart. Now, this is the division. One runs over the right ventricle, another runs over the left ventricle. All right. Now, that is just the extension of the bundle of His. Now, that's not all. The bundle, these extensions also has secondary extensions. Now, those extensions most of them spread to the muscles of the ventricles. So it spreads to the muscles of the heart. So there is an extension. Now I will tell you the functions of this extension when I'm talking about the physiology. Now, this extension is what we call the Purkinje's fiber. The Purkinje fiber. Purkinje fiber. Now, let's go straight into the physiology of how electrical impulse is being transferred in the heart. The first thing that happens is that it is generated from the SA node. From this particular point, the impulse travels. So I remember I said it's just influx of sodium and calcium ions that raises that bar and fires an action potential, which is called depolarization. So when this depolarize, it sends the electrical charge to other parts of the heart. Now, when it gets to this particular point called the the AV node, what happens is that the AV node actually slows down this charge. All right. Now, ideally, the floor of the atrium is actually non-conductile. That means it doesn't conduct electricity. And this is important because we actually do not want the atrium and the ventricles to contract at the same time. So what happens is that there is a non-conductile muscle at the floor of the atrium. Now, when the blood fills the atrium, these signals get to the AV node. The AV node waits for the blood to empty into the ventricles. So the moment the blood empties from the atrium, goes down to the ventricles, what happens is that this AV node fires its own action potential. Now, the action potential, the electrical impulses travel from the AV node to the through the bundle of His and spreads around the left and right ventricle. Now, you may want to ask, what is actually the function of the Purkinje's fiber? These Purkinje's fiber are extensions that makes transmission of impulses faster. Okay, so it reaches every part of the heart. Now, there is why we have more fibers around the ventricles. Now that's because of the size of the ventricles and the job of the ventricles. The ventricles actually do the great work in the heart. So you can just understand that when blood enters through the superior and anterior vena cava, it just falls down from the atrium into the ventricles. Now it is the ventricle that makes sure that this blood is pumped, so it needs a lot of charge to charge it up to contract so that the blood will leave to the lungs and the one from the left ventricle will leave to other parts of the body. So that is what happens here. So this is just an overview of the electrical impulse of the heart. Now, this particular process can be recorded on an ECG or EKG, where you have things like this. I'm sure you must have seen this in the hospital somewhere. So this is what the electrical impulse of the heart looks like in an EKG. Now, in my next video, I'm going to be teaching you how to read the EKG. All right. So thank you and see you in my next video.